So I've decided to do a little thing. I'm calling it quarantine quips. And on Sunday mornings, I'm going to post a little something to our church Facebook page. Hopefully it won't be more than a few minutes. It depends on how long I talk, I guess. No, it won't. I've got it all written out right in front of me. But I want to use some unusual scriptures and apply them to our lives. And so there was no more unusual scripture that I should start with than the scripture that my brother Jeff always said was his favorite scripture. As many of you know, that is Deuteronomy 23:12. And that particular scripture in the New International Version says, designate a place outside the camp where you can go to relieve yourself. Yeah, that's what my brother would say was his favorite scripture. You're like, Jill, how in the world can I apply that to my life? Designate a place outside the camp where you can go to relieve yourself. Verses 13 and 14 go on to say, as part of your equipment, have something to dig with. And when you relieve yourself, dig a hole and cover up your excrement. For the Lord your God moves about in your camp to protect you and to deliver your enemies to you. Your camp must be holy, so that he will not see among you anything indecent and turn away from you. Well, I've decided that this particular scripture it can easily apply to us today in these times, as I believe it's talking about cleanliness. A few years ago, I did a sermon series called That's Not in the Bible. I talked about common phrases attributed to the Bible, even though they're not really in there. And I started with the phrase, cleanliness is next to godliness, not in the Bible. It was probably a Hebrew proverb that had been around for centuries, but its debut in the English language in kind of a modified form is found in the writings of philosopher and scientist Sir Francis Bacon. And in that sermon, I shared a story. I like stories that I can use as modern day parables. So I want to share that with you. So I'm looking over, just in case you're wondering what I'm looking at my laptop and reading off of that. In 1837, a chemist named James Gamble and a candle maker named William Proctor started a little company in Cincinnati, Ohio, to produce a better soap. You can figure out that was Procter & Gamble. Until that time, soap was harsh and smelly, and they came up with a formula to make a pure white soap. And for years, the brand name was White Soap, because they were apparently super creative like that. But in 1870, a worker accidentally left the mixing machine on too long with the ingredients in it, and an excessive amount of air got into the mixture. Well, they didn't want to waste the ingredients, so they went ahead and poured it into the molds and sold it. Well, they started getting letters from people saying that they liked the floating soap. The company figured out that the batch with too much air produced the first floating bar of soap, so they changed the process to make white soap float. Well, William's son Harley was running the company, and he didn't like the brand name White Soap. Good for him. One Sunday in church, he heard his pastor read from Psalm 45:8 that says, from palaces of ivory, the music of strings makes you glad. So from that verse, he renamed it Ivory Soap. And for marketing purposes, Procter & Gamble asked independent chemists to analyze the ingredients of ivory soap. The result was only 0.56% of impurities was discovered. So Harley Procter proudly proclaimed ivory soap was 99.44% pure. He even had that phrase copyrighted. But truthfully, 99.44% pure isn't pure. It's almost pure. And as my dad always said, almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So my question is, how clean are you today? I'm not talking about your skin. How clean is your heart today? And you may say, it's pretty clean, Jill. I'm better than a lot of people. And is that answer okay? Would that answer be okay if I was talking about the cleanliness of your hands? Well, my hands are cleaner than the guy working on my car, so that's good. So in these times when we're cleaning our hands with soap or hand sanitizer every 5 minutes, let's think about the cleanliness of our hearts just as often. Our hearts are just as easy to clean. While you're washing your hands, just say, God, I was a real knucklehead today. Clean my heart and forgive me. It's that easy. I hope you're having a great day.